My ex-girlfriend used to buy these mandarins and then put them in a bowl on her counter, and they would just sit there for days and rot. And I bought a bag the other day, and I don't want them to meet that same fate. But seriously, how many of these things can I actually eat? Everybody and their brother has an eBay vlog, and I'm a full-time eBayer, so I might as well hop on the bandwagon. And this is the first item that I sold in the last couple of days. It's a book, and it sold for $7.95. It's a cool old book. The American Electrician's Handbook by Croft. This thing is really old. It's got some writing inside it. And it is by Tyrrell Croft, published in 1932. I guess if you were an electrician back then, you'd have to read this book. And there's all kinds of charts and things that fold out. It's not really a bad book. Now, I don't know if I really want to get into the business of selling old books for $7.95 because it's not a lot of profit there, but it's better than, I mean, what am I going to do with this? You know, who's going to pay me anything for it locally here in Newburgh? So $7.95, cool old book. That's item number one. If this book was really valuable, I'd probably ship it in a box, but it should do okay with just a little bit of bubble wrap in a padded envelope. So that's how I'm going to ship it. Normally I'm a little bit more precise with this stuff. Now these padded envelopes, they're bubble mailers. I get them on eBay really cheap. And then I'll fold the mailer over and then adhere it. There's my $7.95 book. And I'll probably tape up these edges later, but that's how simple it is to pack that. Have you ever heard the word adorable used to describe something associated with a chainsaw? Because if you haven't, let me blow your mind for a second. These tiny little cans of steel chainsaw engine oil. I don't know how old these cans are, but they look really great. You know, Aaron Draplin, eat your heart out. And these are going to go into this little priority mail box. It's a 7x7x7 cube. I got $13.50 for all 4 cans. I think I paid like $2 for these, so it's not a big deal, not a big profit, but I just had to have them. I had to offer them in the market. I had to see what they were worth. Turns out $13.50. I don't know if this is overkill, but I made a cardboard X to put between the cans, and then I'm going to bubble wrap them. Now I'll put some bubble wrap in the other direction to seal it all off. And remember that these are liquid. So when you ship liquid, you have to tell the post office that you're shipping liquid, because obviously the more the post office knows about what's inside your package, the less hassle you're going to get. Now I've lined the box with what you would call void fill, but what I would call newsprint, and a little bit more on the top. Seal up the box. And that is ready to ship to its new owner. This is a box of pig wipers, and you can see like in the box there, these are basically napkins that you use in a chemistry lab to wipe up spills and stuff. And I had a box that sold for $24.95, but this box was just sitting forever, so I lowered it to $14.95. Problem with these, I don't know if you can see it on the scale, but it's 1 pound, 9 ounces, which means if I put these in a box to ship, it's going to be 3 pounds priority mail, so I got a trick for that. See, the post office has these Tyvek priority mail envelopes, and I'm going to use these to wrap this box like a Christmas present and just put the postage label right on it. I hope it doesn't get crushed in shipping, but that shouldn't be a problem. I was never that good at wrapping Christmas presents, so I'm not looking for perfection here. And yes, I had to cut the envelopes up the sides before I did this, duh. This package reminds me why I always used to let my mom wrap Christmas presents, but it'll do the job and it'll save us a pound in priority mail shipping. So that's good to go. Pig wipers. This next thing is really cool. Comes in a little blue metal box. Do you know what it is? Well, I'll tell you. It is a miniature camp stove, and it's an old one. It sold for $28. So you pop this thing open right here, and inside you got your tank and your burner and your handle, and you put the handle in, and I guess that's what controls the burner. See, look at the brass on this. The tank is just all brass. The burner is all brass. This thing has no markings on it whatsoever. So this might be like a real rare item that I just didn't get the right keywords on, but it sold for 28 bucks. I'm happy with that. And this is going to go out priority mail, regional rate A, because that's the best deal. Now this thing has some rattling parts in it, so I stuffed it with newsprint. It also has this glass eyedropper for fuel, so I'm going to bubble wrap that and put it in there too. Now I'm definitely a little nervous about the eyedropper in here, but I guess if it breaks, it breaks. So I put a little more padding in here, a little more paper to keep things from moving around. Now I'm just going to close it up and put it in the box. This is what's called regional rate A. It's a fairly small box. It's smaller than a medium flat rate box, but in this case it's going to be about $1 cheaper than just sending it regular priority mail, and it's $5 cheaper than medium flat rate. So a little more newsprint, and we can tape the box up. And it'll be ready for a label, and that is the mini camp stove that sold for 28 bucks. I don't normally pack items in advance, but this one I did because I wanted to make sure it would fit in the envelope. But I kind of screwed myself because now I have to cut it out of the envelope. Luckily these envelopes are free. They're padded flat rate envelopes. It's going to cost me $7.10 to ship this thing. So I've wrapped it in cardboard so that it doesn't bend. Cut the cardboard away with my utility knife. A lot of these utility knives. Multiple layers of cardboard, of course. And what do we have inside is this beautiful Wheaties enamel sign. See? A Wheaties enamel sign that sold for $33.61, which was kind of surprising to me because when I looked at comps, these really weren't doing too much. Now, this is not original. This is not old. This is made by a company called Andy Rooney. Not that Andy Rooney, but a different one. And this is from Highland, New York, which is like 5 miles from here, 10 miles. So this is a really, really high quality sign. It's got grommets in the side so you can hang it up. It's got great graphics on it. And I'm really happy that this sold for $33.61. Now I just have to rewrap it because I already wrapped it and unwrapped it. But I skipped all the steps, and I'm just going to seal up the flap. And that will be ready to go. $33.61. Next on the list, oh my god, it's a milk crate. But what's in the milk crate? You'll see. I'm running out of room over here on the desk, but this is a PlayStation 1 lot. It's got 2 PlayStations, a bunch of controllers, and I think it was 28 games. It sold for $111.49. And I sold everything completely untested as is. So I don't know if this stuff works or not, and I always sell video games like this because I just don't want the liability of testing them. So 2 very, very clean PlayStations. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 controllers. And the games, I mean, you got Crash Bandicoot, Need for Speed, Twisted Metal, MLB 2000, Driver, Metal Gear Solid, Medal of Honor, Driver 2, Spyro, I'm not exactly sure what that is, Croc, NBA Live 2001, Final Fantasy VII, unfortunately this had a missing disc, Pong, Tekken 3, Spyro again, Crash Bandicoot again. Then we had another Twisted Metal game, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Twisted Metal 3, Madden 98, Sims Live and Large, Dear Avenger, The Sims, Doom 2, Gex 3, Blast Lacrosse, Croc 2, and Jet Moto. That's a pretty cool lot. This lot's going to my favorite eBay bidder. They buy a lot of video game stuff from me, and they never give me any problems. So I bubble wrapped everything, the 2 consoles, all the games, and then I used some newsprint to wrap all the controllers because they're a little bit more robust. And all this bubble wrap I got from a friend, and it's kind of like scraps, which means I had to use a ton of tape. So you save money, you lose money. The newsprint, I got 20 rolls, huge rolls of newsprint on Craigslist for 14 bucks each last year. That was a great deal. You can get these rolls online, but they're like 50 bucks. So newsprint, bubble wrap, and these are all going to go in a big box. So I took all that stuff and I stuffed it in a big box, which is kind of too big for my camera. I need a wider angle lens. And this box, it's a Nook Reading Apps box from the Barnes & Noble dumpster. So if you need boxes on a regular basis, there's a Barnes & Noble in every town. So go to their dumpster. They always have great boxes. So now this is all taped up and it's ready to go to FedEx. And FedEx likes it when you do what's called H taping, making an H out of tape and taping the ends. So that's your PlayStation 1 lot that sold for $111.49. Thank you very much. Now, I've been on eBay for about 20 years now, and I've sold all kinds of stuff, but there are still things that baffle me, and these are one of those. These two things, circuit boards, dials, I don't know what they are. Do you know what they are? I mean, now I know what they are because I sold them. These are called EQ modules. They come from an old broadcast console, like a big mixing board that you'd see in a radio station or maybe a recording studio. These sold for a whopping $455 for the pair, untested. Now, I've had multiple pairs of these things, and they were hovering around 300 bucks, but for some reason this particular pair went for $455. I don't know exactly what these do, and as far as I can tell, they're the only part of the console that's really worth that much money. The console had a ton of parts that I pulled out. And, you know, they look interesting, of course. They look like something you might build out of a kit at Radio Shack back in the 80s or 70s. I don't know why these things sell for 455 bucks, but I've sold a few pairs already. Like I said, I haven't had any complaints. So these are EQ modules, $455. Let's take another closer look. Now on the front, you've got a bunch of knobs, 3 blue knobs, 2 greens, a red, some buttons. Here you've got some circuitry, some capacitors, some resistors. In here you got some wires. On the back side you have like a translucent circuit board. And I should know some stuff about this stuff, but honestly, I really don't. I really don't know much about it at all, but what I do know is that I'm really, really glad that I picked up this console. It wasn't that big. I pulled all the modules out of the console. There's a tip: if you see a console, a mixing board that has modules that you can pull out, pick it up, because some of these modules, like these, can be worth 455 bucks a pair. And let's get ready to pack those. For 455 bucks, we want to make sure to pack the hell out of these things. So the first thing I've done is bubble wrapped each one of them individually with plenty of bubble wrap. Next, I put each one of the EQs into a small priority mail box. This is like a DVD or VHS box. And I put some more newsprint in there, kind of loose because I don't want to put any pressure on the circuit board. Now I've taped both of those boxes together for a little bit of added security. And now I've bubble wrapped that just for even more protection. And now I've put the whole thing into a large priority mail box, and I'm going to add some newsprint to the top and bottom just for extra void fill, and then we can close that up and tape this. And I'm going to require insurance and a signature on this package, so including all those extra services, priority mail to the West Coast is going to be about 25 bucks. But it's easily worth it because these two mysterious EQ modules sold for 455 bucks. And that is the cream of the crop for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I may or may not make more of them, so stay tuned or not. Thanks for watching.